Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer Scrapping Cane. Today I'm sharing an 8.5 by 11 layout of my nephew and my great niece fishing. And this is something that he does with his daughter often. He likes to take them fishing. He also has a son. Uh, First, I'm going to show you the embellishments that I'm going to be using. This is one of the lake kits that I put together using my very large lake kit, but I separated it out into page kits. So I already have embellishments and papers picked out and everything's ready to go. Just need to scrap the photos. So in today's layout, we'll only have one photo on it. So I'm showing you some mushrooms, leaves, butterflies. I have some fish, and those are on clear stickers. So the clear stickers are from Hobby Lobby. The mushrooms and the leaves are from Simple Stories Vintage Lakeside collection. And then these papers here are from my stash. The Simple Stories wood grain is from the basics, and then the dark blue navy one is actually an Echopark paper. That was one of their fishing lines a way while back. I only have a few of the papers left. They were actually from a paper pad. And if you can see on the white paper, there's a starburst already on it. I am going to cut that out here in a minute. First, I'm going to use my decal edge scissors to cut the inside of the frame. I've cut the outside of frames before, but I've never cut the inside before, and I actually like the way that it looks. It kind of gives it a rough, rugged outdoor look. So I'm going to ink that up first, I believe, before I move on. And I'm using Vintage Photo. This matches the brown. And I didn't want anything too dark, so I didn't use black. And I just want it to cover up the white edges that are on the frame. I don't really like white edges pretty much on anything if I'm going to add a lot of pattern papers or different embellishments. I usually ink the edges to cover it up. So the frame is ready to go. I'm going to get started on the background paper. First, I'm going to cut out a template of this paper here. This is just copy paper, so it's nothing fancy. I actually didn't keep it. I probably should have because it was a good little template when I get done with it. But I put a little bit of ATG on it to hold it down in place, and I kind of tore it in the end. Sorry, had to get a drink of water. Anyways, so I'm going to cut it all the way up to the middle, but I'm not going to actually cut all the way through it. I want this centerpiece still attached, so the sunburst or the starburst is attached together. And they're not even, I didn't measure them out or anything like that. I just made sure there was even amount of enough so that you could leave an empty one in between each one. So that's all I'm going to do. Just trim that up. I'm done with that. And I'm going to lay it on top of the blue paper. And then, like I said, I will use my ATG to attach it down lightly. And then I will cut it out of the blue paper. So the blue paper will then turn into the white paper. Yes, that's correct. So I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to do it on the pattern paper. And I could have did the same thing. I could have drew it on the pattern paper and then cut it out. But it's really hard to see on the darker paper, and I kind of get confused if I turn it upside down. The other side of this is actually white since it's from a paper pad, but I have tons of copy paper, so I just use the copy paper usually and then lay it down on top. Because 9 times out of 10, I'll cut it the wrong direction if I try to flip it and then bring it back over. And that's just something with my brain, I've found that I just can't do that. It's usually too confusing. So this is just easier. And again, I'm only going to the middle and then I'm trimming it off. The photo mat will actually cover up the center where it meets. So it doesn't matter that it's not perfectly cut. I'm also going to rough up the edges, so I'm just using my scissors to cut it up. You could use a paper trimmer or something else. On 12 by 12, it is a little bit harder to cut with a paper trimmer if you're trying to go all the way around it. But since I'm doing 8.5 by 11, I get a cheat. But it didn't matter because that paper was bigger than 8.5 by 11. So here I'm going to cut the wood grain down to 11 by 8.5 or 8.5 by 11, either way. I do want my wood grain going sideways instead of vertical up and down. And again, I'm going to ink up the edges, and this is using Vintage Photo first. I'll come in with Ground Espresso, which is a little bit darker, and that matches the inside lines that you see of the wood grain on the background paper. So I'm going to do the Ground Espresso now, and I'm just using the sponge dauber to kind of rub it in since it is Distress Oxide. And then I'm going to attach this. First, I'm going to put the frame, make sure I have enough room on the left and right side. I do want it set a little bit more to the left than the right. And then I'm going to take my edge distressor, and I distressed all the edges. Unfortunately, I was off camera, so I just cut that part out. So here I'm going to go ahead and attach it down. And then once I get it attached and in place, I will cut off the extra pieces around the edge. Each side is going to have just a little bit all the way around it that needs to be trimmed off. I'm just going to do that with my scissors, and then I will be done. And I did save the pieces that I cut, the blue pieces of the pattern paper. I could probably either create another one, another sunburst, or I can use the pieces on another layout to punch out stars or labels or tags or anything like that. They're definitely usable pieces, so I didn't throw those away, just in case you're wondering. And then I'm going to ink up the edges of those once again, and I think down at the bottom it was just a little bit slightly uneven, so I just trimmed it with the paper trimmer. And again, I'll just ink it up one more time. And then I'm going to come in and do the frame, I believe. Yeah, so I want the photo matted on white cardstock. I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to have to trim it down just a little bit because this orange paper is almost the perfect size for this 3x4 photo. Almost a 3x5. It's a 3x4 photo. And so I have it on white cardstock, and I'm going to use StazOn ink to ink around the edge of the photo. I almost always ink around the edge of my photos, depending if I'm using black or brown on the layouts. Unless I'm doing white-based layouts, then I don't ink around the edges. But if they're any kind of dark ink that I've used anywhere else on the layout, I'll use it on the photo also. And I have StazOn ink in black and the darker brown color that they have. So that's what I used on the photo because it's less likely to smear because it dries very quick. And I'm going to fiddle with this photo mat because I can never seem to get them to lay back down straight. And it's still a little bit off. You'll see me mess with it one more time before I finish. I'm going to add the frame over the fish paper, which is actually the opposite side of the orange paper. That was one more scrap that I had left from a couple of the other layouts. I'm getting down to the bottom of my lake kit. I believe I counted I think I still have 8 layouts left to do. But most of them are going to be the last few that I had minimal embellishments and papers in with them because I wanted to see what I had left over from the other layouts to use on those other layouts. So to add a little bit more to them. So here I'm going to lay down the photo, and I'm messing with the photo mat one more time because like I said, it's still not straight. So I'm going to place it in the frame first, and it doesn't completely lay center. It's a little bit bigger at the top and the bottom than it is on the sides, and I'm okay with that. It looks fine in the end. So I'm actually going to add the title down at the bottom. And that little foam title that I added at the very top, it says Explore Your World. And that I just thought was something that's cute. And then this one here says Go Fish, which is exactly what they're doing, is just fishing. And so this is something that he likes to do with his daughter. It's something his dad did with him. So he still carries on the tradition by taking his kids fishing. And then I'm going to tuck in the little mushroom here. I'll put another mushroom, and I kind of put it more on the sunburst than on the wood grain. In the final photos, it's moved down. I'm not sure if I move it down while I'm still on screen or if that's something I did afterwards. It might be something I did afterwards. I also added their names down at the bottom, or I titled it Daddy and Adeline. And this is for Adeline's album, so it'll just go in her album. And then I also added the year up at the top too, and I believe all of that was off camera. But anyways, I'm just going to go around and add a couple of the little leaves in, and then I will add some of the little wood grain pieces, and I try to add a little bit to each little cluster. So first at the bottom, I did the mushrooms and a leaf and a little. I haven't brought the wood veneer in just yet, and then I'm going to try to add a couple little clear stickers down at the bottom. The only place I didn't really add a clear sticker is at the top for some reason, but it's okay. It looks okay, so it's all right that it didn't get a clear sticker. I don't think anybody's going to notice but me. But anyways, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Oh, I think I was distressing the little leaves is what I was doing and cutting it off. That was a bigger little sprig, but I didn't want the whole thing, so I just cut part of it off to use. It says big catch. And then I'm going to add a lure up there along with the clear fish, and I'm just going to stack them on top of each other, on top of the navy paper, but you really can see them in real life. I know my lights are kind of throwing everything off, but unfortunately, right at this moment, I don't have different lighting to try out. So hopefully soon I will, but as of right now, I'm just going with it. So I'm going to still add the fish, and then I believe I will get started on the other side, or up at the top of the frame actually, where it says explore your world. I'm going to add these little wood veneer flowers, and what I'm doing right now is all of Some Assemblage Required wood veneer has masking on it that you have to take off of it. So I was trying to peel it off, but I realized that I was kind of breaking the leaves as I was peeling it off. And that's something because it's not very thick, which is fine because it leaves less bulk in your albums. So what I decided to do was go ahead and place it down on the layout and then peel off the masking, which works just fine. The bigger one I was able to pull it off, but the smaller one I was not. So the smaller one still has masking on it. Here in a minute you'll see me just kind of use my nail to just rub it off the rest of the way. And that's what I'm doing there, is I'm just peeling them off. And that was just so that it wouldn't break apart anymore, but also so they wouldn't get in the wrong place, because then it won't look like a flower or a perfect little flower. So over here, I'm just going to add a little stick, and that's a little wood veneer stick. And I broke those apart. They were a little bit longer than that originally. They're very easy to break, and I just wanted a little piece at the bottom and the top. So I broke those. They didn't come that way, just in case you're curious. And then down at the bottom, I also added a clear sticker of a little bob that's red and white, and another little fishing lure right at the end of the word fish. And then I'm going to come in with sequins, and I will be done. I'm just going to add a couple at the top and over in the right hand cluster, and then down at the bottom. And like I said, I don't believe I put the letters on. I'm going to watch here for a few more minutes, but I don't think I do anything else on camera. I did it all off camera. But I might show the final layout with the added on title of Daddy and Adeline, and then the year 2020, which of course, the year 2020, we all know that was pandemic year and everybody was out fishing or doing something outside because everything else was closed down. So here I'm just going to add my sequins, and I did stack the sequins, so or maybe I didn't stack them actually. No, I didn't stack them. I just used a little gold one, and it comes off as a brown, but it's like a coppery gold, and then orange and a flower. And again, those are the same sequins I've been using in all of my lake kit layouts, or whenever I use sequins, I've been using those ones just to use them up. I had to get one more out. I decided to put a little sequin on top of the flowers at the top. I put a darker one on the big one and then a little orange one on the smaller flower. I'm going to show you some close-ups, and then I will have some photos, and that will be it. I will see you in the next video.